All right, so I'm Mike Brightman. My company is Brightman Designs. We offer design, drafting, visualization, and workflow training services for clients all over the world. Basically, we promote and develop products that make the design process easier. And everything that we do revolves around Sketchup Pro, Layout, Lumion, and our Condoc tools. So it's a simpler, easier, faster, less expensive way of doing things as a designer. If you're creating construction documents, if you're using SketchUp and you want to work in this kind of fun, fast manner and thinking and designing in 3D and having your 2D drawings a product of that 3D model, that is the gist of our system. And you can get started by going to our website and clicking on our SketchUp for Professionals course. That is kind of the core of everything. That's where you can kick things off and get started. So it's a 12-hour course. 9 hours of it is totally free. So give it a shot and see what you think. But today we are doing office hours. So let's get back over here and talk about our office hours today is highlighting a really talented programmer, extension developer, and student of architecture, Christina Eneroth. And she's done some amazing work, has a huge collection of plugins. And the thing that's really cool about her plugins is that she's got so many of them, number one, and they're all, there's not too many of them that are like these big, complicated things to use. It's almost always eliminating this little annoying thing along the way. She's really cleaned up the whole workflow. And actually, after really going through and studying a lot of her plugins, there's really a lot of them that fit in perfectly with our Condoc and SketchUp for Professionals workflow. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to take a lap through, take a look at the developer page and just kind of go through and talk about some of the plugins that I picked out as being some of the good ones for us, but they're all definitely worth checking out. So many of them are free and some of them are paid for as well. And I gotta say that we develop extensions too, and these things take time and effort, and there's cost as well. I mean, for uploading and hosting these things, and so supporting a developer like Christina is a really big deal. She has so much to offer for free, and these paid plugins are like $7, $10, $20. I would just encourage you to get on the extension warehouse, go to her page, and buy some plugins, because that's just encouraging as a programmer, a developer. When you're putting these extensions out there and people buy them, it gives you the fuel to keep building the free stuff and more cool paid stuff. It's so cheap anyway. So anyways, definitely check that out. And I can tell you, I can't paste any links in our chat, but we'll get that out there. Maybe we'll throw it out on a social media post or something like that. And I can definitely promise you that we will have everything bundled up in our newsletter. So next month, when we send the reminder for our next office hours, we'll have a blog post with all Christina's links and everything there too. So if you check this out, this is Christina's developer page. And if I just scroll down here, I mean, this is outstanding. I mean, it's so many of these plugins that she's created. So I forget how many. There's 60 of them here. All right. So what I want to do is just take a lap through some of the ones that I looked at and I thought, I didn't test every single one of them, but I did test some of them, and I'm going to demo some of them. But I was also kind of psyched to read about some of the others, and I made a list of those. So let's take a lap through there. First off, we've got these are the free ones too. So I'm going to go through all the free ones first, and then I'll explain the paid ones as well. So this Eneroth Lift Layers, this really fits in with our Condoc workflow. My understanding of this one is that basically you take, if you have a bunch of objects that are all on layer furniture, so the way the Condoc system works and the way that we teach SketchUp for Professionals is that you take your chair, your table, your couch, and all that stuff all goes in a group, and it goes on, and the group gets the layer furniture. Well, a lot of people I've noticed, it's just an instinct or first obvious way to do things is to assign the furniture layer to every single object. And basically what this is doing, my understanding is it'll kind of basically group all those, lift the layer up to the parent and assign the group properly. And I think it'll also do that with geometry as well. So basically, if you have geometry that's off of layer 0, it'll take all that geometry, put it on layer 0, put it in a group, and then assign the proper layer to the group or the previous layer. So anyway, this is a really exciting plugin as well. I haven't tested that one, but definitely it's free, worth checking out. This copy between components, this one's really cool. It's and sorry, some of these I didn't use specifically, but this one it basically is moving pieces between components, and that's really important for like with Condoc and just moving things with our grouping system. Kind of an automated way of doing that. Let's get to one. This is one that I did test and I'm a little bit more familiar with. This one was really cool because we've changed our layer naming conventions a couple times over the past several years. And so in doing so, you know, you might pull in like an old project or an old component, and then next thing you know, it's like it's got the old layering system, and you're getting the warning from the Condoc system. Well, this allows you to kind of set up like this mapping between like this layer equals that layer, and being able to you know, just show that like you know, if I bring in design doors and my new layer is element doors, it's going to bring it in and kind of like, you know, mush those layers together into the right one. So that was a pretty cool one. It took a little bit to get it set up, but once it was set up, it seemed to just work pretty well. This texture positioning tools, this one is really killer. We've used this several times. It's so simple. I mean, even just these rotate counterclockwise and rotate clockwise, the amount of clicks that is eliminating. If you've ever had to right click on a texture and go to, was it texture properties or edit, yeah, texture properties, and then you get in there and you've got all those pins, and then you can right click again and do like, you know, rotate 90 and then hit enter. I mean, this is just a one button, one click, and I'm sure it works with keyboard shortcuts too, where you just tap a keyboard shortcut, spins your texture. That's a big deal, just to be able to eliminate that. All right, so as we go on through here, we've got Eneroth camera memory. Now this one I did use. This one, basically like in Condoc, when you set up, where this happens a lot is with like your existing conditions model and your proposed conditions model. And when you run the plan generator in your existing conditions model, and then you save it and do all your work, and then save as proposed, and then you get going in there, and then you run the plan generator again. Well, sometimes, when you run the plan generator as a proposed conditions, sometimes you end up with like different views. And so like your plans are kind of out of whack, and if they're all going to get stacked together, they're not going to line up. So what this allows you to do is kind of pull camera views between models. It's so simple, and it really is like, what I used to do is draw a big square and in one model and do a zoom extents to that square, and then I would update all my views, then I'd cut the square and paste it in place in the next model, do a zoom extents, and then update all those scenes. This is just like 2 clicks versus all that like kind of working around and cutting and pasting. So definitely worth checking that out too. And again, these are free. All right, this fog tool I didn't use, but it looks really cool. I mean, these details and like, and I understand the need for it, because honestly, the fog in SketchUp is difficult. Like, I don't know, just there's like the point of zero visibility and the point at which it starts, and like, you know, how far away from the camera am I? And so this gives you some better control over the fog in SketchUp. That's handy. All right, now this saved us on a project. Sometimes there's these plugins where you're like, I don't know, it's just, if you just need that one thing, it can totally save you on a project. And we were building a waterfall. And, you know, the first waterfall we built, and it was all these like stacked stones, it was okay. It looked like a waterfall, but it wasn't great. And then we ended up trashing that version and then rebuilding from scratch. And using this plugin, it was so easy to just kind of make this convincing, more natural waterfall. And you know, basically all the stacked stones and the boulders. It was just really, really handy. And I mean, there are some other tools that do things like this, but this one is so simple and free that like, it's just a great solution. So I came up with a few things to demo on this tool. I like this one a lot. All right. And this relative top view, this one's really cool. I'm going to demo this one too, because basically, if you want to, I think we did an office hours on this not too long ago. essentially, if you want to align your plan with your screen, like if it's off axis, you have to like align your axis to your actual geometry, then right-click on an axis and choose Align View, and then that's going to kick it over there. Well, this is just kind of a really quick and easy way to get to the view that you want, so you can update your cameras that Condoc creates without having to go through all the axes tool and all that stuff. Because I mean, I know how to do it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know how to do it, but it's clunky, and every time I mess around with the axes tool, it's like usually I have to do it once, and then I got to do it again. You know, it's like I got to remind myself, like, what am I doing here? All right, so that one's pretty cool. And then this flatten to plane. I was goofing around with this one a little bit, and this one, it seems pretty nice for working out 2D graphics. So if you want to flatten something, basically I kind of turned it to X-ray, grabbed the line work, and then flattened it. That was pretty slick, but I think the original idea with this one is that when you import CAD, you just select all your CAD and flatten it. So that works well for that too. All right, now let's get to the good stuff here. These are the paid plugins. Again, they're so inexpensive. I mean, $20 for what this does, it really is outrageous. I mean, the amount of, if you can save like 1 hour of time, you've just, you know, paid for this 3 times over, 5 times over. So highly recommend purchasing any of these plugins. The view memory, this one I didn't test out specifically, but this one, it's basically, it seems like that import camera view, but much more, you know, many more features on there. So we're basically like recalling a view from one model into the next, and including styles and section planes and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. That one seems like it would be really powerful for Condoc. Again, that same functionality of like moving between different models. So that's cool. And then this visual merge, this one, I think I know it works really well with a simple Condoc model, which actually a lot of Condoc projects are pretty simple. But basically what this does, it just hides the seam between two models. So this one's pretty cool too. It did work well on simple ones, but if I'm remembering right, it doesn't work between like several nested groups. So if you get a more complex model, this one's not totally perfect. All right, this component replacer, I'm going to demo this one. This one's really cool too. This one basically, it's like kind of like sample a component and then paint it over here. That one was really cool for $7. I can see how I'd use that a lot. And this one is just, you know, like I couldn't live without this, right? This is like, I'm going to change the way I'm doing things, because honestly, hiding something in SketchUp is so easy. If you just tap the H key, that's my keyboard shortcut for hiding geometry. Well, what's frustrating is that you have to go in and select an entity. If you want to turn this layer off, you got to like click on it and look at the entity info, and then turn, you know, go fishing through the layers dialog, and then uncheck and click again. And I'm always saying that like the more time you spend like hunting and pecking for, you know, specific little buttons on your screen, the more time you're burning, and also it'll give you a headache. It's just, you got to like, you know, focus on that task that's like not designing or not building a model. So I'm going to show you guys how to use this one and set up a keyboard shortcut. And I'm really psyched to just kind of get going on this one. So this one I was really, really psyched about. So anyway, that's our kind of overview. And let's hop into SketchUp Pro, and let's see, what am I up to? I got to check my notes here. And all right, so let's open up, I'm going to open a Condoc model. Let's go to our Condoc tools, version 3, resources, models. And we've got this residential new construction. This is kind of a good one. Okay. You know what? I'm also going to open up another window, and we're going to start off with this a demo of relative top. And I just want to show you like what that one looks like. All right, let's get this started up. All right. Okay, here we are. All right, so like the relative top view, and this one was a free one if I remember right. All right, so basically, what happens is like if I start drawing a floor plan like this, and I say like it's going to be kind of masked out like that, and we're going to have a grid shift in here, and we're going to like put something going on like that, and so now our plan kind of has all these kind of funky angles on it, right? And so that's fine, but like maybe I want my plan, like I want to make my plan line up here. And if I go to camera, standard views, top, all right, so this is, the green is always north, and it's always like plan north, right? So like your drawing is always going to point to the top. Now, what if I want this to be like, on one of these different sides, right? Well, the way you would do it in the past is you'd like right click and choose either move and like rotate about the blue by 45, and then you can right click and choose align view. All right, so now you've aligned your view with that. That's a mess. I don't want to do that. Like that's even like when I know that it's 45. Like what if I have some like really weird angle here? I don't even know what that angle is, right? So let's just pull this up like that. All right, so then the other way that we would match this is like I'd go to my axes tool and like set up my axes so that green, see I messed that up just like I said, right? So I want to like kind of set up my axes to be in line with this face, and now I can right click and choose align view, and now I'm set up. All right, so that's where I'm set up in plan. That's just a real hassle, to be honest with you. I'm going to reset that. I don't want to think that hard. So what I do is I would right click and choose align view. So now I've got that perfectly aligned view there. And then I can go to camera and choose Eneroth relative top view. What that does is it flips my camera right over, and I'm good to go on my parallel projection. So at this point, I can add my scene and set up my plans, or if I'm working in Condoc, Condoc works off that like default drawing context. So your green is going to point up. Maybe your plan is askew. Well, this way it's really easy to get to that view and then update all of your camera views in all of your different plans. So that's a really handy plugin. That's one I'm going to hold on to for sure. All right, let's see. What else do we have? And let's see, extensions. Oh, let me install my Condoc extension here for just a moment. We'll do extension manager, install, and v3. There we go. I'm always switching versions here. And like that. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's see, what's next? I want to look at Swift layer visibility. And let's see, and what, I should just take one quick moment and just look at the chat panel, make sure that everything's going the way it should be. All is clear, perfect. Okay, I'll go through these here in just a little bit, but for now, we'll keep on going. All right, so Swift layer visibility. This one is $10. This one is really cool. All right, check this out. If I go in here and I'm like, all right, here's my context, right? If I look at my entity info, the way that the Condoc system is set up is that we have our design context layer, and we have like design flora, right? So I got to click on it to understand it, that like, oh, this object is in this group, and the layer assigned to that group is design context. Now, if I want to turn off that layer, I actually have to go into my layers panel, and I got to go, okay, design context, and turn it off. All right? And then I got to click here and say, okay, yeah, that's design flora. Click here, turn it off. All right, so what this Swift layer visibility does is I can click on an object and then just push this hide button, and it turns that object's layer off. All right, so that's the first functionality. So watch this. I'm going to go to all on, These are our layer states. So this works very, very just right in line with our layer states and everything that we're doing with Condoc as far as layering goes. And so basically I click here, and then I just click on this hide button. And look what it did. It turned off Flora. I don't care about that now. I don't need to dig around in my layers panel. And I can go click here and say like, yep, Earth, turn it off. Now this is different than hiding. Think of hiding something. You know, you get a similar effect if I hide something, but the issue of hiding is that it's more of like a utility or a tool. It's something to kind of help you move through your model. It's not like a permanent fix. And that's where layers come in. Layers are like the tried and true perfect way of organizing a model. So really we need to, hiding things is like you're going to hide and unhide as you're working. Layers is the way that you fully control your model. So click here, hard surfaces, you can click on context as well. So I picked two different layers, and check this out. I'll open up my layers panel again. And when I hit hide, you can see it turned off context and it turned off hard surfaces. So really easy to kind of get there where you want to be and just work on what you want to see here, all right? Now, the other thing it does, and this one, as far as demoing goes, I might muddle through this because I'm just really, it clicked for me just about 2 hours ago, the real value of these other buttons. So basically what you can do is if I like double click in, I like to use hide rest of model, all right? So I use that a lot. Let's just click here, all right? Let's just click on, this is our walls, and I'm gonna hide my walls, all right? And then I can use hide rest of model to isolate the rest. And then I could say like, I wanna hide my windows as well. And what that's doing is, those layers are kind of trickling through all of those different levels. It just helps me control those layers, get inside my model, get to the layer I want. Now, there's this other function, which is basically, let's see, if I unhide everything, what this button does, let's do this. What this button does, and it's not showing up, we got a lot going on with my graphics card right now, and it's just not showing the prompt right, but I'm gonna have to do this from memory. Basically, it's going to unhide all of the layers that are used within this drawing context. And this drawing context is basically this group that I just double clicked into. All right, so I'm going to click there and it's going to unhide all of the layers. All right, now let's say that I go, you know what, I actually did want to work on my walls. I click on my walls and then I click on this button. And what this does is it rehides everything that was shown, it rehides the layers except for what I selected. So now it just rehid all of those other layers, but kept the one that I selected. Now it probably takes a little bit of practice to get used to, but Christina had mentioned to me that this is something that like changed the way she works, and I can see how that would be true. This is definitely something that is well worth the $10 to just do this one trick. I mean, this is really fantastic. So I'm psyched about this one, and just going through here and like hide that, and I'm clicking on this button, but like let's do this. Let's go to Window, Preferences, and go to our shortcuts, and let's see if I type in I'm guessing it's like hide layer. Yeah, there we go. And let's see if I can't expand that. So hide, rehide, let's see, what is this tool called? I just got to look up what this command is. So hide selected layers. Let me see if I can find that. I'll just search Eneroth. Window, Preferences, and Shortcuts. And let's see if she put her name on here. Okay, hide selected layers. All right. So like layers, when I'm creating my shortcuts, I would think of like L, but that's line tool. So maybe like I'll just do Control L for now, as that's going to be my hide. We'll add that, and then we'll say I think the show active layers is going to be Shift L, and add that, and then I'll do this other one is Control Shift L. So, oops. So two modifier keys. So everything's on L, and we'll say OK. All right, so I can do Control L, Control L, Control L, and then I can do Shift L. select something, and then do Control-Shift-L. Maybe that one wasn't hidden. Let's try that again. Unhide everything. And let's see, Control-L, L, L, L. And one more. Okay. Now I'm going to do a Shift-L. I'm going to select my walls and then do a Control-Shift-L. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Rehide. So anyway, I might have grabbed the wrong tool, but either way, I'm going to goof around with that a little bit more. And honestly, that Control-Shift-L thing I was trying to do with this last piece, I'm really more psyched about just the ability to hide these layers. Like, that's killer. So anyways, give that a go, and that's well worth $10. So anyway, that's Swift layer visibility. And all right, let's try another demonstration here. Let me just start a new document. For this one, we're going to use our Fractal Terrain Eroder. And I came up with two different demos. One is going to be involving like a block wall, and the other is going to be making like a cave or grotto, right? And you know, the first one, let's build up our block wall. All right, so let's go with oops, I'll do 8 by 16. I'll type 8, 16. And then we're going to pull this up by 8 inches. All right, like that. And then I'm going to take this block and make it a component. I'll name it block, like that. And then I'm going to make a copy of it, and let's say like 22 times. Oops. We'll do 16 inches 22 times. And then I'm going to take all of this stuff, and I'm going to make a copy of it, like that. And then I'm going to take that entire deal there and make a copy of it straight up. And we're going to do that like 10 times. All right, so we got this like big block wall made out of components. Now, with these components, what's kind of cool is I can double click in, and you know, I can offset this. You know, I'll just say like 0.25, like an exaggerated mortar line there, and then push it back by 0.5. That way we can really see what's going on. And all right, so now we've got this block all set up. Now check this out. Like if I want to do like a split face block, I mean, you know, I'm thinking through like how would I render this, or like if I needed like a really unique block texture. You know, you get those. There's the smooth face block, but then there's one that look like they're like kind of split and they're rough. So this Fractal Terrain Eroder is perfect for that. So what I'm going to do is, rather than making them all split face, I'm going to double click in. I'm going to right click on this and make it unique. All right, so this is our unique component. I'm going to double click in, and all I have to do is select this, and I can go to extensions, and let's see, it's erode. All right, I'll hit erode. And let's do 3 iterations at pointiness will be 1, and we'll say okay. And look at that. What it did is it just kind of like, you know, made it jagged, just kind of split face. And maybe that 1, you know, that was like, maybe that was a little bit aggressive for like a split face block. So I'll go back, I hit undo, and I'll just hit erode, and we'll do 0.5 and do 3 iterations and say okay. So check that out. So that's kind of that, you know, easy way to get that kind of eroded look to it. Now, all right, so let's see. Now, so we've got our one split face block there. And let's paint this one. I'm going to paint this with, we'll just go to our concrete like that, and then I'm going to we'll just use like a darker line for this just to see something else going on. And then I'm going to use the same thing here, paint that. Like that. All right, so you can see we've got like our split face block here, and you can see your hidden geometry like that. Now there's this other plugin. It's this component replacer, and you know, I don't know if this is like a normal thing for, you know, making this rendering, but I could imagine if this block wall were like the highlight, this would be a killer use for it. But this component replacer, it basically does like paint bucket behavior, or like our match properties tool, like that type of behavior where you sample one thing and apply it to the next. it works with components and replacing components. So if you have like different chairs, you want to like click and swap them out, or in our instance, we have this block wall, and now we have like this perfectly eroded split face block. All right, so maybe what I want to do is activate this component, was it Eneroth component replacer? I click on this one, and then I can just click and just start swapping out these components. I mean, that is so much easier than doing any sort of like move, copy, or right-click, reload. You can kind of like get the look you want for this block wall so quick and easy. And let's see, let me make sure. Yep, see, they're all linked. So that's really cool. I mean, that one. Let's turn our shadows on, and now like this is in SketchUp where the shadows aren't like all that powerful. Where you bring this into something like Lumion, and I mean all of a sudden you've got like some really nice shadows and realism going on. I mean that's pretty cool. All right, so that's that component replacer. That was a paid plugin, $7. So I could imagine that using that with trees. This example here is with furniture, but yeah, like landscape and shrubs, and just being able to quickly reload things without like right-click reload. Or actually what you would do is you'd have to right-click, make unique, right-click, reload, track down the file, and then say okay. It saves all those steps. $7. All right. Okay, let's take another lap through the Fractal Terrain Eroder. And the Fractal Terrain Eroder, that one is free. So let me show you how Luke ended up making this waterfall, but this is my interpretation of it. Let me see. I know I have a really cool image here. Let me open up that. So Dropbox, presentations, and our 18. Okay. Cool. This is a rendering we did, and this was kind of a quick project. And this waterfall that we put together, it was a challenge, to get the look right and to get the boulders in place. And given the constraints of the project, I think that we did a really good job of getting something together that was much clearer, and after a couple revisions. So I want to show you how to create something along those lines. All right. So over here. Let's see, if I want my waterfall to be like, let's see, we'll call it, I guess 5 feet, 20 feet, enter. And let's see, I'm just going to like pull this up a little bit and then do, I'm just going to kind of sketch this waterfall out. And we use like varying levels here. And this middle one will be our kind of plate that hangs out, and maybe I would do, I don't know, let's do this, and I'm just tapping control with that push-pull tool. So we're going to get something going on in here, like that, like a stone going on there. So I'm just kind of massing out like the general form of my waterfall. And then what I would do is I would start like, all right, this is where I want my overhang, and maybe that one goes in a little bit. This one can be like these different pieces here, and maybe, like pulling these different things out, like that. So just trying to get like those different pieces stacked in there. And I don't know if this is even the best way to do this, but whatever, we'll stick with it. That. All right, so we got kind of like this rough shape created, and maybe this would even be a good time as well to take this and make a copy of it up by like 0.25, group it, and hide it. All right, so we've got it sitting there for the time being. I'm gonna intersect my faces with model. All right, so basically I'm just gonna take this whole thing and I'm gonna erode it. Extensions, erode. We'll give it 3 iterations. We'll do 3, and then 0.5 and say okay. There we go. So it just kind of takes that one form and very quickly, like, just rolls it and changes it and mashes it up. Those are like really difficult shapes to make. And now, I could just take this and paint it. Maybe I would use a stone. And, I'll bet if we would have gone in, let's try that actually. That's kind of what we're here to do. Is I'm going to paint like we'll paint all this with granite brown. And then I'm going to paint like some of this stuff with a different, let's see if that gives us the look we want. Like that. And we'll just do a couple. All right, and then let me grab one more and like that. So that'll be like a featured boulder, like that. I'm just curious what the textures are going to do on this. All right, so we'll go to extensions and choose a road. And again, we'll do 3 iterations. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's really, like very quickly just trying to knock something out. And then I would just take this and move it straight up. Maybe I would have like deselected that one plane, I guess. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that then this, we can go to our water and paint that. So now that becomes our waterfall, and pretty cool. So that Fractal Rotor, that was a pretty handy tool, and creates a lot of tough to make geometry. I guess the other thing, I did say I was going to do this. We're getting close on time here for sure. Is this is another example. I don't know if I'm in love with that waterfall I built, but anyway. So if I pull this up, let's try something else here. I'm going to get all this stuff out of the way. We're hiding. Just auto-saving or something here for just a moment. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to draw like a 120, 240. So a 10 foot by 20 foot cave. And when I was working on this, I was thinking of like miniature golf courses, right? And you've got these like funky caves, and like, how do you even do that? But with this tool, it was pretty slick. So it's kind of a fun one to play with. And I'm just going to hold shift on that surface and just kind of create the outline like that. And then maybe I'll put like another outline over here like that. All right. Something like that. And then I'm going to push pull this all the way through. And then I'm going to push pull this all the way through. And then I'm going to triple click and intersect my faces with selection. And then carve that out. And that's kind of how we like hollow this thing out. It's like that. Like that. All right, so now we've got like, nope, we need that. So I think we're good there. That's kind of the general form. And then what I would do up here is like maybe offset. Let's see, let's do that. I'm going to use my line tool actually and just draw a simple line. And then I'm going to use my follow me tool like that. And then maybe just like shift this thing. I'm just kind of like making it not perfect. All right, so we'll do that and kind of bring in these edges. All right. Do this. Cool. Get rid of that. Perfect. So just that kind of simple jagged form, and then I can just take the whole thing, extensions, and erode, and we'll do pointiness of 1, and let's do 3 iterations. See what that does for us. Takes a moment. So anyways, I guess, while we're waiting for that one to kind of catch up, again, I'll just reiterate that like these plugins, they do take a lot of effort to make, and so many of them for free. Definitely well worth getting the free ones, and buy those paid ones too. Check this out. I mean, that's a difficult thing to make. I don't really like that, the way that looks. Let's go extensions, erode again, and let's just do 2.5. We'll do 2 iterations. That should go real quick. There you go. Look at that. I mean, that's such a difficult form to make and make it believable. And that eroder, that's I can see where that's going to come in real handy with a lot of things. So anyways, let's wrap things up, and we'll get to the chat panel here. But just to close this one down, again, I'm Mike Brightman with Brightman Designs, and we do offer design, drafting, visualization, and workflow training services, whether that's on-site in your office or our 3D helpline service where we do screen shares, or if you don't want to work on the project, you just want to send it to us, we've got a whole team to knock those things out for you and get the work done. So anyways, brightmandesigns.com, check us out, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to us on YouTube and all that, because that is, we're always putting out these videos, and every month we do our office hours, and we'll send out a reminder. Next month, I think we will be skipping next month. We're moving offices, but we'll have a brand new setup when we come back in March. But we'll have some more goodies for you next month. So if you're subscribed to our newsletter and follow us on social media and all that, you'll definitely get the recording of this, and we'll chop it all up into some nice tutorials. Definitely worth watching. And certainly, if you enjoyed the presentation today or gained something from this, we do appreciate you sharing that with colleagues or letting somebody know. That's how we keep this thing going. So definitely appreciate you guys coming in today, and we'll see you in the next office hours. Now, right now, though, we're open for questions, and that's part of this thing, too, is to answer questions. And so whatever you got, please do type that into the chat panel, and let's see what we've got here.